The Springfield Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting is called to order. This is our May 21st, 2019 meeting. Please stand and we'll have the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to start out by congratulating Alderman Bobby Trotter for being inducted to the initial class of the Ready Hall of Fame, and that was held on Tuesday night at Paradise Ranch. I want to tell you a little bit about his accomplishments and why he was chosen to be one of the first in the Hall of Fame from Springfield and Bransford, correct? Bransford High School. He's been a trooper from 1974 to 1986, guarding our roads and protecting all of us. He's also been security for Governor Ned Ray McGorder, Governor Don Sundquist. I didn't see any more on the list, but I thought you had more than that, sir. No? That was it. In 2001, he was made captain over the state capitol legislature security detail until his retirement in 2008. Now he is the acting sergeant at arms, keeping watch all over our legislatures. And I know Mr. Kerry Roberts, our state senator, is in the room, and he is grateful for you being there each and every day and seeing you from Springfield in the hallways. He's Alderman of Ward 2, re-elected in 2018. This is the cool part. This man has met so many neat people, and I just have to share it. And I know you wished I'd go on, but you got to hear this. He's met Rosa Parks, U.S. Presidents Reagan, Carter, Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama. I bet they left out a Bush, or I left out a Bush. Okay. He's been to 2 presidential inaugurations. Who in the room has ever done that? That is so cool. And attended the balls. I know he's been to several conventions that were held on both the Democratic and Republican. I want to congratulate him for being one of the first inductees into the Ready Hall of Fame for our school system. And if you ever want to have a neat conversation and just listen to some good stories about history in our country and our state, spend some time with Alderman Trotter. I've enjoyed it, and I love working with you. And I know everyone else is proud of you that sits up here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Our Springfield softball, girls softball team has just won. They'll be playing again tomorrow. They think it'll be at 11:30 in Murfreesboro. This is the state tournament. Lots of good news in Springfield. We'll move on to 1.2, other good news. Presentation for the Bicentennial Proclamation from Tennessee General Assembly by our own State Senator Kerry Roberts. Kerry?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Board of Aldermen. One of the things that we have great delight in doing in the Tennessee General Assembly is recognizing momentous occasions, and on the occasion of Springfield's bicentennial, we passed a resolution in the Tennessee Senate, and I always like to explain to people, of course, you all would know this of all people, that when we pass a resolution, it's just like when we pass a law. And it gets signed by the governor, it gets signed by Lieutenant Governor, Speaker of the House, and myself. And the significance of that is it becomes part of Tennessee's recorded history. So on the occasion of Springfield's 200th anniversary, we passed Senate Joint Resolution 118 on February 6th of 2019 To commemorate this occasion, it's my honor to present it to you today. Thank you. All right, yes, come on in. No, I just thank you for everything you do, and I'm going to tell you one of the best things about working in the Tennessee Senate is I get to work in the same place that Bobby Trotter works, and I get to see him all the time. So he is a good man and a good friend, and I'm thrilled for you and was glad to be able to be there for your induction into the Education Hall of Fame. So thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. You have a great day.
And while you're still at the mic, I want to thank you for what you do for us. We call on you, and you're here when we need you, and we appreciate that you are standing up for Springfield's rights down in the state legislature.
Thank you. Well, it's an honor to serve you, so thank you much.
I think you're a great guy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. 1.3, the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen held on April 16th, 2019, and a special meeting held on May 7th, 2019. Are there any corrections?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay. No corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. 1.4, we will have our public hearing. If you would like to speak to the public hearing matter, please come to the mic. You have 2 minutes to speak, and start by telling us your name. Our first public hearing will be Ordinance 19-06, an ordinance abandoning the right-of-way on Gorham Avenue. If you'd like to speak, please come to the mic. I see no one. Public hearing is closed. Number 2, ordinance 19-07, an ordinance abandoning the right-of-way at the end of the New Hope Lane. Please come to the mic. The public hearing is closed. 2.1, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 19-06 on a second reading. An ordinance abandoning the right-of-way on Gorham Avenue. Do I hear a motion to discuss?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any questions? And I will say that we have our Assistant Manager, Ryan Martin, here tonight to answer any of the questions. Ms. Holt is under the weather, and we hope she'll be better soon. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Harris.
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Sneed. Gregg. Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you, Kim. 2.2, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 19-07 on a second reading. An ordinance abandoning the right-of-way at the end of New Hope Lane. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Questions? Call the roll, Ms. Brickles.
Schneider.
Aye.
Harris.
Yes.
Gregg. Sneed. Trotter.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you. 2.3, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 19-08 on a first reading. An ordinance rezoning 10 parcels located in the 9th Civil District on North Main Street, North Willow Street, and 4th Avenue East from residential to core commercial. Do I hear a motion to discuss?
So moved.
Will you please read this when you...
Who was the second, Greg? Greg, could you second?
I'll take the second. Don't mind.
The two of you. Thank you, gentlemen.
19-08, an ordinance rezoning 10 parcels located in the 9th Civil District on North Main Street, North Willow Street, and 4th Avenue East from residential to core commercial. Whereas Main Street Church of Christ has requested approximately 3.61 acres, a total of 7 parcels in right-of-way owned by Main Street Church of Christ located on North Main Street and North Willow Street be rezoned from residential to core commercial, and Springfield Baptist Church agrees to have approximately .68 acres, a total of 3 parcels located on 4th Avenue East, rezoned from residential to core commercial. Whereas the Springfield Planning Commission has reviewed the request and voted with a favorable recommendation for these parcels and right-of-ways be rezoned. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. 3 parcels and right-of-way totaling approximately .95 acres owned by Main Street Church of Christ located on North Main Street, tax map 80G, Group D, parcels 17, 18, and 19 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, and being more fully described by Exhibit A attached, are hereby rezoned R10 Medium Density Residential District to CC Core Commercial District. 4 parcels totaling approximately 2.66 acres owned by Main Street Church of Christ located on North Main Street and North Willow Street, tax map 80G, Group E, parcels 47, 48, 49, and 60 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, and being more fully described by Exhibit B attached, are hereby rezoned from RS10 Medium Density Residential Single Family District to CC Core Commercial District. 3 parcels totaling approximately .68 acres owned by Springfield Baptist Church located on 4th Avenue East, tax map 80G, Group E, parcels 56, 57, and 58 of the tax maps of Robertson County, Tennessee, and being more fully described by Exhibit C attached, are hereby rezoned from RS10 Medium Density Residential Single Family District to CC Core Commercial District. This rezoning shall become effective following its 3rd and final passage as required by law.
Thank you. Discussion, gentlemen.
What's the reasoning behind this?
Essentially, these are parcels owned by Main Street Church of Christ and Springfield Baptist. This was requested by Main Street Church of Christ in an effort to eliminate the residential setbacks in the event of expansion. So this will extend that core commercial on down to them.
Other questions? No questions? Call the roll, please, Ms. Brickles.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed. Harris.
Yes.
Trotter.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Gregg.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
2.4, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 19-09 on a first reading. An ordinance amending the fiscal year 2019's annual budget for the city of Springfield by amending certain general fund operating budgets. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Questions? Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Ordinance 19-09, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2019 annual budget for the city of Springfield by amending certain general fund operating budgets. Whereas it is necessary to amend the city of Springfield annual budget for fiscal year 2019 in order to meet the requirements of the city charter. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee, that the city of Springfield annual budget for fiscal year 2019 is hereby amended to make necessary changes to expenditures and revenues within the funds and departments as set forth in Exhibit A attached. All ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing out you needed to read that. I had it underlined and I went right on by it. Any questions, gentlemen? Housekeeping maneuvers, as normal. Call the roll, please.
Head.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Trotter.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Gregg. Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed. Pass 7-0.
2.5, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 19-10 on a first reading. An ordinance adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. Do I hear a motion to discuss?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Brickles? It's shorter than it used to be. Thank you.
Ordinance 19-10, an ordinance of the City of Springfield, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. Whereas Tennessee Code Annotated Title 9, Chapter 1, Section 116 requires that all funds of the state of Tennessee and all its political subdivisions shall be appropriated before being expended, and that only funds that are available shall be appropriated. And whereas the municipal budget law of 1982 requires that the governing body of each municipality adopt and operate under an annual budget ordinance presenting a financial plan with at least the information required by the state statute, that no municipality may expend any monies regardless of the source except in accordance with the budget ordinance, and that the governing body shall not make any appropriation in excess of estimated available funds. And whereas the governing body has published the annual operating budgets and budgetary comparisons of the proposed budget with the prior year actual and the current year estimated in the newspaper of general circulation not less than 10 days prior to the meeting where the governing body will consider final passage of the budget. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Springfield, Tennessee as follows, that the governing body estimates anticipated revenues of the municipality from all sources to be set forth in Exhibit A attached, that the governing body appropriates from these anticipated revenues and unexpended and unencumbered funds as set forth in Exhibit A attached. At the end of the current fiscal year, the governing body estimates balances and deficits as set forth in Exhibit A attached. The governing body recognizes that the municipality has bonded and other indebtedness as set forth in Exhibit A attached. During the coming fiscal year, the governing body has planned capital projects and proposed funding as set forth in Exhibit A attached. It is reasonably expected that the municipality will reimburse itself for certain expenditures made by it in connection with the planned capital projects through the issuance of debt. This ordinance shall be placed in the minutes of the governing body and shall be made available for inspection by the general public at the office of the governing body. This ordinance constitutes a declaration of official intent under Treasury Regulations, Section 150-2. No appropriation listed may be exceeded without an amendment to the budget ordinance as required by the Municipal Budget Law of 1982, TCA Section 6-56-208. In addition, no appropriation may be made in excess of available funds except to provide for an actual emergency threatening the health, property, or lives of the inhabitants of the municipality and declared by a 2/3 vote of at least a quorum of the governing body in accord with Section 6-56-205 of the Tennessee Code Annotated. Money may be transferred from one appropriation to another in the same fund only by appropriate ordinance by the governing body, subject to such limitations and procedures as it may describe as allowed by Section 6-56-209 of the Tennessee Code Annotated. Any resulting transfer shall be reported to the governing body at its next regular meeting and entered into the minutes. A detailed financial plan will be attached to this budget and become part of the budget ordinance. In addition, the published operating budget and budgetary comparisons shown by fund with beginning and ending balances and the number of full-time equivalent employees required by Section 6-56-206 Tennessee Code Annotated will be attached. If for any reason a budget ordinance is not adopted prior to the beginning of the next fiscal year, the appropriations in this budget ordinance shall become the appropriations for the next fiscal year until the adoption of a new budget ordinance in accordance with Section 6-56-210 Tennessee Code Annotated provided sufficient revenues are being collected to support the continuing appropriations. Approval of the Director of the Division of Local Finance and the Comptroller of the Treasury for a continuation budget will be requested if any indebtedness is outstanding. There is hereby levied a property tax of 1.0720 per $100 of assessed value on all real and personal property. All unencumbered balances of appropriations remaining at the end of the fiscal year shall lapse and revert to the respective fund balances. This ordinance shall become effective on July 1st, 2019, the public welfare requiring it. Thank you.
That was a long one. We appreciate what you do. Gentlemen, it's time to talk about the budget. I know we have several questions. Thank you for attending the work session. I feel like that was a very good meeting and we hashed out a lot of things there, but I'm sure you've got questions, and who would like to get started?
Bruce.
Mr. Hubbard? Would you like to start?
No, put it on the left side, I'll finish it.
Okay, I'm gonna start over here.
It's there.
Jared?
The position that we talked about, was that put in for beginning July 1st?
The total to add that would be $31,000, and so it wasn't in there at the budget we presented, so it would have to be included by you all, amended to be included.
I'd make a motion that we do that.
Motion to amend the budget.
Second that amendment.
Okay, but let's get it in writing.
It was proposed that we do beginning in January. And I'm making the motion that we, what is the official title of the position?
Public Affairs Coordinator.
Okay, the Public Affairs Coordinator, that position start July the 1st.
Okay.
The advertising for it. I realize that by the time it's advertised and you find somebody, it may be the first of the year, but I don't want to wait till
July
then to
1.
start.
The motion on the floor is to change the Public Affairs Coordinator to July 1st instead of January 1st. That would cost us $31,000 that we will have to find in the budget. Any discussion?
Or it could be added onto reserves that are being used.
Got to find it somewhere. It can be reserves. Thank you for pointing that out. No questions?
Mayor,
Sir?
so Alderman Harris is wanting to up the start time for this newly created position and amend the budget.
July 1st,
Reflect that.
2019, instead of January 1st.
May I ask the Alderman Harris, what's the purpose of making this alteration?
Because the city manager had placed it into the budget for us to begin the 1st of January of next year. When I asked her to place it in the budget to begin with, we had asked that it be included beginning the new budget of July so that we can get someone hired for this position and get them boots on ground to start working toward promoting and the city of Springfield to, just get us some marketing out
Answer
there.
received, Mayor, if I may,
Yes, sir.
my discussion about this is a newly created position.
Yes, sir.
I don't think we're at the point where we need this person when we pay so much money to there's a couple other entities that we pay money to, quite a bit of money, tens of thousands of dollars a year for these things. I think this position is overlapping, and I see no coordination between, it's hard to see how all three of if this is passed and approved, how all three of these are going to coordinate
Okay.
and not overlap.
Mr. Martin, do you want to speak to that?
This new position that we're asked to fund, I think, Mr. Harris, there was an issue that's not going to be able to get it posted, notice posted, and resumes read and looked at before July. I thought that was kind of pressing to try to get it in at that point.
Well, I think I'm speaking for Mr. Harris.
I don't think necessarily it's going to take place July the 1st. I just don't.
Okay.
I would like to see
We
us
will start
start
looking
advertising
and
for that.
advertising.
Is there a list of resume requirements, not resume requirements,
Yes.
but
Job description.
Yes.
job descriptions?
Yes, sir.
Has that already been?
They've talked about it. I don't
Okay.
know if it's actually in
Yeah.
writing.
So we do have a job description, and
What was this person supposed to do?
so
Do
to
they
your
have an
point-
office here, or where are they going to work?
yeah, we'll have to find some space for them here.
Well, we're on
but,
top of each other now, so.
Mhm.
We had that
Which-
discussion at the special meeting, and we're not real sure where they're going. There's some ideas.
We have some ideas, but it'll have to be some created space, and we'll have to be creative when we find that space. But this position wouldn't overlap necessarily, say, what the Chamber of Commerce does or what Economic Development does. This position is going to provide a lot of internal administrative support, communication between departments. It provides some commercial constituent services, so when a new business comes to town and needs to know when they're going to expand or when a business is here and they want to expand, they can talk to that person, and that person can tell them exactly that they'll have to see the electric department for this requirement, water, wastewater for this, and move along that development services route that other organizations aren't providing. This is a position that other municipalities are ahead of us on. Appreciate Alderman Harris for recommending it, but so that's part of the function. It's going to be a versatile position. It's going to be someone that has some experience or should have some experience in a couple of different areas in order to accomplish the task that we need, because it's going to be an internal and external. It's called Public Affairs Coordinator, but there's a lot of internal functions that this position would do too.
Do department managers have to go through this person first, or if they go around it straight to you or Ms. Holt, how's this person going to work in the hierarchy of how department heads communicate with the city, with you and the city manager?
They're not going to be in the hierarchy necessarily. What the position's going to do is be able to take the people from the outside and know where that person needs to go. So they're going to know that they can plug them in with Mr. Beers at Water Wastewater. They're going to know that they can go see Nikki Pinson at Electric and who can provide the answers they need instead of them going all around figuring
Well,
that out.
we have personnel that's worked decades right in that office over there to approach that answers the phone when it rings and sees the people when they walk through the door. Why do we need another person to do that?
Well, because of our growth, that person answering the phone and having, being in the building a lot, that person's getting tons of things. And we have grown to the size of a city that we want to be business friendly when someone comes in.
Okay,
And that is to help
Is there a
desk.
call log that registers what all the calls that she takes so we can assess that, or are we just going to say that without any documentation? Because I've sat in the lobby and it doesn't look that busy.
Well, this position, we have talked about in several strategic planning meetings, and in my opinion, just my opinion, I think we need to move forward to bring our city in line with some of our surrounding cities that are doing and larger than us, that we're achieving better things here.
Right. Well, when somebody tells me facts that we're overrun with calls and there's no documentation to back it up, I kind of take that as a little grain of salt. I'd like to see or get start so that you can, and I've done this on other positions that we've created.
Well,
And like for example, bike patrols, police, different things, want to see how many apprehensions, or back, it used to do it, we don't anymore, when police took the cars home.
Sure.
What are they doing
And-
during this car home time, and how many apprehensions? None of that, I told them we wanted to record, but it never was.
Well, and, you know, I love your questions, and they're good questions, and we're going to give them to,
Okay, I'll move on.
Well, I want to point out, we're going to give these to the Assistant Manager, Ryan Morton, and Gina Holt, because that's the day-to-day operations of the city, and they're good ideas, Clay.
Okay, sure.
I like them. All right, next questions? Ma'am.
I did want
Ms. Lisa Crockett.
to point
Finance
out
Director.
that this position is one that is part of it is allocated out to the utilities. So the net cost to the general fund will be $10,850, and then the remaining $20,150 is allocated out to the various utilities.
Thank you.
So that'll affect all the funds except for stormwater with this position added, the additional 6 months.
And we're going to do some basic cheerleading for the city. I'm sure Mr. Martin's now posting on Facebook all the great things going on in Springfield. I'm sure, I haven't talked to him about it, I'm just going to jump out there on a limb that this person's going to be doing that kind of stuff too.
Absolutely, and
You need
more.
that off your plate.
And more.
Yeah.
And that's I'm glad you said piggyback, marketing. This person's gonna sell the city.
Okay.
More so than the other people. That's their specific job, is selling the city. And the other managers, Mr. Sneed, will do their function too, but this is a different one. And a correction on a statement, the bicycle patrol was more of a public service, and some of the people weren't on the board. They were effective as public service people, community policing. And the cars had to go home just in case there was something. Springfield at that time was having high crime rates and all this good stuff, and we wanted the officers to be able to respond in a real quick time.
Okay.
Mayor,
Mr. Sneed, yes.
you know we don't take police cars home anymore. I mean, not.
That's-
Yes, we do.
at the time that you arguing about that? That was the reason why?
We do.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
We voted to let
be-
them-
I know, but I thought it was a policy decision
No.
to
No.
not involve them with calls after.
We
after-
voted on it a couple of years ago. I can't remember exactly when, but before you were chief, I believe.
Well, like I said, when we started that, I wanted some documentation to assess this new program and this new cost. And it never was documented where I could go and look at it and see what we're getting for those extra dollars.
The argument, I'm gonna shut up, the argument was to make sure that when we needed backup, understand me, that we get backup. Am I halfway correct, Chief?
Okay, questions? Mr. Head? Mr. Gregg?
No question.
Any more questions on this side of the room on Mr. Harris's amendment?
We have a vote.
Call the roll, please.
Sneed.
Aye.
Harris.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Gregg.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay. Other discussion about the budget?
Mr. Trotter,
Yes,
I'm finishing my comments.
Mr.
I
Hubbard?
think it's a very fiscal sound budget. I am pleased with everything that the managers did. I'm more pleased that we're gonna see this 3.4 compensation increase for our employees. And I really feel that everybody is working to make this city great. And this budget is a reflection of that. And this budget is a reflection of what I always said, if you build it, they'll come. And we're building, we're now bringing Springfield, as I look at this budget, into full competition with all these towns that are around the Nashville area. So, Mr. Martin, Financial Director, managers, I commend you on this budget. Job well done.
thank you, Mr. Hubbard, for pointing that out. We have 254 employees at the city of Springfield, 4 part-time. If I had some notes jotted down, we have a bond rating of AA3. We are headed in the right direction, and I thank you for that, because y'all are the front line, the ones that have worked on this budget. Other questions, amendments to the budget? If not, we'll move on and vote.
Just one
On the amended
comparison
budget.
thing I left off.
Yes, sir.
When I do go around the country, there's a comparison with the cities of our size. We are doing great. And when I share this information with the small cities in America, we are doing great. They don't have half of the amenities that we have. So I'm very proud of this town.
Thank you. And being a finance person and working in the financial world, I can tell you that the reason this budget is so good is because they don't make projections that are crazy.
It's true.
That's, other government bodies do that. That helps a lot. Any questions, discussions? No questions. You're through? We're going to vote now on the amended budget.
Ready to vote?
Call the roll, please.
Trotter.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Gregg. Sneed.
Aye.
Harris.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you. 2.6, discuss and possibly take action on ordinance 19-11 on a first reading. A ordinance rescinding ordinance 18-14 in its entirety and setting a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield water system. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Brickles.
Ordinance 19-11, an ordinance rescinding ordinance 18-14 in its entirety and setting a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield water system. Whereas it has become necessary to increase water rates in order to pay for increased cost of operations, maintenance, and debt service for the water system. And whereas Article 4, Section 13 of the Charter of the City of Springfield requires that the fixing of fees and charges be accomplished through legislative action must be exercised by ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Springfield, Tennessee, that ordinance 18-14 is hereby rescinded in its entirety, and a new schedule of rates and charges is hereby adopted as follows. All direct retail customers shall pay a minimum monthly bill. The minimum bill shall include the treatment, transmission, storage, and distribution of the first 2,000 gallons of water per month. The minimum monthly bill for each customer class shall be as follows. Residential city rates, $19.89. Residential county rates, $29.82. Small commercial using less than 24,000 gallons a month, city rate is $30.50. County rate is $45.76. Large commercial using greater than 24,000 gallons a month, city rates is $45.86. County rate $68.77. Industrial customers in the city will be $70.12. County rates are $105.19. All residential customers shall pay a consumption rate of all water usage in excess of the first 2,000 gallons per month. The use rate shall be for each 1,000 gallons and any fractional portion thereof. The use rate for each customer shall be as follows. 2,001 gallons to 5,000 gallons, $7.58 per 1,000 gallons in the city, $11.37 per 1,000 gallons in the county. 5,001 gallons to 20,000 gallons, $6.46 per 1,000 gallons in the city, $9.69 per 1,000 gallons in the county. 20,001 gallons to 100,000 gallons, $5.29 per 1,000 gallon in the city, $7.95 per 1,000 gallon in the county. Greater than 100,000 gallons will be $4.54 per 1,000 gallon in the city, $6.80 per 1,000 gallons in the county. The charge for treatment, transmission, and storage for wholesale water customers shall be as follows. Wholesale will be $4.67 per 1,000 gallons. Credit for one water leak for each account shall be allowed in any 12-month period. Credit shall be in the amount of a maximum of 25% reduction in the total bill. Under no circumstances shall the bill be less than the annual average or best estimated annual average as a result of the utilization of the credit. Proof of the leak in form of a plumber's invoice for repair will be required. All ordinances, resolutions, or policy in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only. This ordinance shall become effective with billing of July 1st, 2019.
Thank you. Gentlemen, discussion on the water rates. I know you've been sitting here for years. We've talked about all the different repairs we've done to the water, wastewater. I don't like my bill to go up, but unfortunately we have to pay for all the stuff we've done.
As I explained to citizens, yes, it's spoiled growing, changing out the sewage section, changing out the water with the connection and Guthrie and stuff that Logan County did. And this is part of the infrastructure. You know, people used to say, well, we have lower water pressure here, lower water pressure there. Well, it won't be any excuses. But we have enough water, so.
Anybody out there wanting to buy water, hang on, we want to sell it. I promise.
Money is part of it.
Mr. Gregg?
Did we find out from the work session, we talked about our wholesale price to Greenbrier, that contract, did we locate those?
Okay. No, Gina may have that. Yeah, Ms. Holt may have that, and I don't. So
We'll see if we can get her to
Yeah.
email that out
will
tomorrow,
they send that out?
if she's back.
Do you know how much it cost us to produce this 1,000 gallons of water? I know what wholesale says, but how much does it actually cost us?
I don't know the exact figure.
Are you talking about very much markup here, or you think it cost us close to what we're selling it for to produce it?
It's pretty close. The more water that we sell, the better it's going to be off. I'm talking about.
Mr. Pierce.
I'm sorry.
While he's making his way to the mic, MTAS did the rate study for us,
Yes.
and that's kind of where all of these recommendations are. And they did come up with that number of what the cost was, and which included debt, and I don't remember what that figure is
I
off the top
don't
of my
remember
head.
exactly.
But anyway,
Uh,
go
I think
ahead.
we had that study. Oh, they gave us that study.
Yeah, MTS did that study on our rates and everything and gave those.
We were in this room, special session, were we not? I don't have it.
Yeah.
I have it at the office.
I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me, or
We can
committed to
email,
memory either.
we can email that out tomorrow again.
We had it back in the fall.
Yeah, was it the fall?
It was back in the fall.
Okay.
Thank you.
And for the general public, the water department and all of our utilities are enterprise funds. If something's done in that department, the money has to come out of that department. I didn't make the rules, sorry. And the federal government has made us repair things that needed to be repaired in the state, and it's all trickled down.
So true.
And that, they needed to be done. Any other questions? Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Harris.
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Trotter. Sneed.
Aye.
Gregg.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you. 2.7, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 19-12 on a first reading, or ordinance rescinding ordinance 17-08 in its entirety, and setting new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield wastewater system. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Brickles? Take your time.
Ordinance 19-12, and ordinance rescinding ordinance 17-08 in its entirety and setting a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield sewer system. Whereas it has become necessary to increase sewer rates in order to pay for increased costs of operations, maintenance, and debt service for the sewer system. And whereas Article 4, Section 13 of the Charter of the City of Springfield requires that the fixing of fees and charges be accomplished through legislative action, which must be exercised by ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. That ordinance 17-08 is hereby rescinded in its entirety and a new schedule of rates and charges is hereby adopted. All direct residential customers shall pay a minimum monthly bill. The minimum bill shall include the treatment and collection of the first 2,000 gallons of discharge per month. The minimum monthly bill for each customer class shall be as follows. Residential in the city, $37.68. Residential in the county, $56.52. Small commercial using less than 24,000 gallons a month in the city is $57.84. In the county, $86.76. Large commercial using greater than 24,000 gallons a month in the city, $96.33. In the county, $144.49. Industrial customers in the city, $384.50. County, $576.75. All customers shall pay a used rate based on the volume of wastewater collected for treatment in excess of 2,000 gallons per month. The use rate shall be for each 1,000 gallons and any fractional portion thereof. The use rate for each customer shall be as follows. 2,001 gallons to 5,000 gallons, $11.95 per 1,000 gallons in the city, $17.93 per 1,000 gallons in the county. 5,001 gallons to 20,000 gallons, $10.33 per 1,000 gallons in the city, $15.50 per 1,000 gallons in the county. 20,001 gallons to 100,000 gallons, $8.78 per 1,000 gallons in the city, $13.17 per 1,000 gallons in the county. Greater than 100,000 gallons, $7.17 per 1,000 gallons in the city, $10.76 per 1,000 gallons in the county. Credit for filling a swimming pool shall be given one time per year based on pool capacity. This credit cannot cause the monthly water bill to fall below average usage. All ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only. This ordinance shall become effective with billing of July 1st, 2019.
Thank you. Discussion, gentlemen. Same story as the last ordinance. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Schneider.
Aye.
Harris.
Yes.
Gregg.
Aye.
Sneed. Trotter.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
Thank you. 2.8, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 19-13 on a first reading. A ordinance setting a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield storm water system. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Brickles, when you're ready.
Ordinance 19-13, an ordinance setting a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield Stormwater Management Program. Whereas it has become necessary to increase stormwater rates in order to pay for increased costs of operations, maintenance, and debt service for the stormwater system. And whereas Article 4, Section 13 of the Charter of the City of Springfield requires that fixing of fees and charges be accomplished through legislative action, which must be exercised by ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Springfield, Tennessee, that a new schedule of rates and charges is hereby adopted as follows. The base rate for an ERU equivalent residential unit for the stormwater user fee shall be $2.50 per month. The amount of impervious surface of the ERU shall be 3,465 square feet. The stormwater fee for single-family residential properties shall be $2.50 per month. The monthly stormwater fee for each non-single-family residential property shall be determined by taking the calculated amount of square footage of the impervious surface on the property and dividing it by the square footage of one equivalent residential unit, which is 3,465 square feet, to determine the number of equivalent residential units on the property, and the resulting number of equivalent residential units shall be rounded down to the nearest whole number of equivalent residential units and multiplied by the base rate for an ERU, which is $2.50. Non-single-family residential properties will be eligible for stormwater credits to stormwater user fee pursuant to a credit and appeals policy. A credit is an ongoing reduction in a property's stormwater user fee that is available for certain qualifying activities that reduce the impact of increased stormwater runoff resulting from development or provide an ongoing city benefit related to stormwater management. Any bill rendered for payment of the stormwater fee shall contain the following statement with respect to the charges assessed, which statement shall be printed in bold-faced type and read, "This tax has been mandated by Congress. All ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only. This ordinance shall become effective with billing July 1st, 2019.
Ms. Brickles, our city clerk, has done an excellent job. This is the one time of the year that she has to read so much, and I thank her for doing that. I'm going to advise them to do only second readings next month, so you can take a break. Thank you. Gentlemen, any discussion on the stormwater increase? No questions? Call the roll, please.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed. Harris.
Yes.
Trotter.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Gregg.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
2.9, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 19-14 on a first reading. An ordinance amending the schedule of fees and charges for play at the Legacy Golf Course by rescinding ordinance 18-07 in its entirety and substituting a new schedule of fees. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second? Was there a second? Did I hear a second?
I'll do it.
Okay, thank you. I thought I heard two people, but. First reading.
Ordinance 19-14, an ordinance amending the schedule of fees and charges for play at the Legacy Golf Course by rescinding ordinance 18-07 in its entirety and substituting a new schedule of fees attached hereto as Exhibit A. Whereas Article 4, Section 13 of the Charter of the City of Springfield requires that fixing of fees and charges be accomplished through legislative action which must be exercised by ordinance. And whereas a schedule of fees and charges for play at the Legacy Golf Course was approved by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen through adoption of Ordinance 18-07, and whereas the Board of Mayor and Aldermen desires to amend the schedule of fees for the Legacy Golf Course at the recommendation of Cornerstone Golf Partners Incorporated. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. The schedule of fees for play at the Legacy Golf Course is hereby amended by rescinding Ordinance 18-07 in its entirety and substituting a new schedule of fees to read as set forth in Exhibit A attached. This ordinance and schedule of fees for the Legacy Golf Course as set forth in Exhibit A attached shall become effective immediately upon passage. All ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
Thank you. I just want to start out by saying Chet is here tonight. Legacy Golf Course looks great. There's a lot of play going out there. Please come out and join them. It's one of the best golf courses in Middle Tennessee. I'll put it up against anything around here. And I'll tell you a little quick story. My husband was out playing with someone from California, ran up on him, asked him to join just last week. His wife was in a conference in Nashville. He came out to the Legacy Golf Course because he read so many good things about it. I think it was on Monday when he was playing last week. He came back on Wednesday and was going to play with him again because it was in such nice shape. So kudos. We don't get to tell you that often. Any questions, gentlemen, for the fees going up?
I have my church
Changes.
members from Nashville that frequentize the course, and they compliment you on it, okay? So you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
Other questions? No questions? Call the roll, please.
Head. Thank you. Harris.
Yes.
Trotter. Schneider.
Aye.
Gregg. Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed. Pass 7-0.
Thank you. 2.10, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 19-15 on a first reading. Ordinance amending the City of Springfield Department of Utility Service practice policies. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I've got to ask her to read one more.
Ordinance 19-15, and ordinance amending the City of Springfield Department of Utilities Service Practice Policies as set forth in Exhibit A attached. Whereas effective April 19th, 2016, the Springfield Board of Mayor and Aldermen adopted the City of Springfield Department of Utilities Service Practice Policies, and whereas the Springfield Department of Utilities desires to amend the policies in order to provide better customer service to its customers, and whereas the Springfield Department of Utility desires to amend the deposit amounts required by the policy to reflect the current 2 times the system average bill for the service type and classification, and whereas the Springfield Department of Utilities desires to amend the service fees in order to reflect the current cost to provide said service, and whereas these policies are codified in the City of Springfield Conditions of Service Policy Manual. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. The City of Springfield Department of Utilities Service Practice Policies are hereby amended as set forth in Exhibit A attached. All ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
Thank you. Assistant Manager Ryan Martin.
Okay, you have in your packet a redlined or marked up version of the service practice policy that shows what the changes are, what the updates are. One of the most important things is our deposits haven't been updated since 2016. So you'll see that those have been updated, those amounts, updates. One of the changes is to allow commercial customers to avoid mandatory deposits. And we updated the deposit amounts to reflect the 2 times average billing. One of the issues that we were running into with our commercial customers that maybe had more than one business is they were all having to pay deposits. And so that was something that we looked at, even though that person had service and was current on those bills. So we updated that to change that. So credit to Ms. Crockett and everyone that worked on that. And if you have any questions, we'll try to answer.
Questions? No questions? No discussion?
Ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. On this 2.10, there's 3 things about this policy that I'd like to discuss. The first is at the top of page 3 of the policy. If everyone can scroll down to that page 3.
The top of 3.
That's right. It'll
Okay.
say page 3 at the bottom.
Okay.
It's talking about the contractors. You see that paragraph?
The utility account is in the construction company name.
All right, it says that contractors will not be charged for services not being used during construction if the utility account is in the construction company's name, period. The second sentence, all services will be charged when the utility account is set up under the occupant's name. Both of those sound fine. The third and last sentence in this paragraph is in bold. Contractors connecting electric service will be required to connect water and sewer services during construction. So the first sentence says you only get what you need. The last sentence, the third out of three sentences, just says basically the opposite. Now, for some of the board members who were not here, when there were some modifications about this policy several years ago, this is important.
I don't see that, hold on.
There's an updated version, Mr. Sneed, of that was uploaded. I don't know why yours is showing the old, but that last part was taken out. It was,
Okay, yeah, it's not.
We
So
don't
you're
have that
saying the
sentence
bold
today.
part is taken out?
Yes, the bold
So how-
sentence
I mean,
no
this
longer-
happens quite often. How am I supposed to?
Well, we were having to really research that issue, and we were going to add it, and then we
So
determined.
cite, if you've got it, cite the current policy of that paragraph.
You want me to read the paragraph as it states?
As current.
Okay. Contractors will not be charged for services not being used during construction if the utility account is in the construction company's name. All services will be charged when the utility account is set up under the occupant's name. That's the end of that paragraph. And then the next paragraph begins, Springfield Utilities may refuse to connect or may disconnect service for violation of any of its rules and regulations or for giving false information on application for service. So we took that mandatory setting up water when you set up electric for the contractors.
When was that policy changed? Because I've been on board a long time, I don't remember that.
Well, it's been an unwritten policy that we've been enforcing, and we wanted to look into that to see if we really needed to be doing that. And we talked with Mark Fields and Codes, and he said the real rule has to do with occupancy, and if a house is occupied or a business is occupied, that's when we can enforce that. But if it's under construction, we cannot enforce that, so that's why we are not going to put it in.
But the text, as it's written, staff cannot change the text. The text says what it says. If it's a policy,
It's just
then,
never been included in the policy, Mr. Sneed.
because I
but
voted
it's
on this and
not-
I approved it years ago, and the reason for that sentence being added was because an audit was done and there was people who had not paid sewer bills for years because they fell through the cracks during the construction process, remodel, and codes. It was omitted like on the final, like a walkthrough.
Okay.
So I don't know how staff can modify that because it didn't come through us. But modify the text of this. So I've been paying on the construction job right now. I'm a general contractor and I've got a job. I've been paying sewer and water, or sewer. I have no bathroom for months.
Right.
Am I owed a refund? Because all of these permits,
Do you have water going right now? Have you been utilizing any water?
I've got water, but I have no bathroom.
Have you been using any
Right.
water on the premises?
And there's some
If
other,
so, then you
there-
probably
not
have
just me,
water
there's other
bill.
contractors, some of whom I've seen where they took a picture of their utility bill and put it on Facebook complaining of the same issue. So I'm not isolated to this.
Probably will not be
move
issuing a credit or a refund,
I'll
but
move along.
going forward, once this policy is in place, it's not going to be done.
So
that
you're
way.
saying the policy takes effect after?
After
we-
three
After the 3 readings, yes, sir.
So this has been a prior policy?
Yes,
Okay,
it just
so-
was not included in the
So I'm reading
written
something that
policy.
you're wanting to change, but it's not highlighted in red.
Because it was not in the original
Okay.
document, so I did not redline it because nothing
Okay.
was there. We were going to
Okay.
add it so it
So I
was
just
in
want to-
writing.
So if that's
there's
what it
no
was, I was going to
confusion.
take that out.
Thank
but
you,
y'all
Ms.
beat me-
Crockett.
Beat me to it. The second thing is, who sees the bill? That's on page 6, the next to last paragraph.
Okay.
It was brought to my attention of some,
May be obtained by visiting City Hall, by contacting a customer service rep by phone, fax.
it says the last thing in bold there, this information will only be released to current account holder. Like if you wanted to see the utility bill on a piece of property that you were looking
You can
at
see that.
buying.
That's not what that's saying.
Like if
We
I
can't
would,
tell, if someone's calling for a relative, we can't tell them their information because it's not their account.
But
If
if I,
someone's inquiring about a property
Uh-huh.
and we don't tell them who lives there, we can give information about the
About the
average
bill.
utilities.
Okay,
We
well-
can do that.
if they're trying to buy a piece of commercial
Do you
property.
see how it could have been confusing reading that, or is it just me?
I don't know, it's kind of hard to write these so that everybody's going to understand
All
them,
right.
but that's why we added the sentence so
All
there
right,
was no
as lo-
confusion.
because there were some issues with someone's bill, checked into it, and there was valid issues that wasn't right. I got to the bottom of it, got that validated, so I want to make sure I can still see if it's brought to my attention something's not right about a utility bill.
Well, if it's
Okay.
not your account, we will not be able to share the information.
Not the personal information, but the bill itself.
The state law protects a lot of utility information with specific utility usage information on properties, and so we're not allowed to release that would be connected to the property.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to. I think that the Board of Aldermen, in our leadership role, should be able to see utility bills, because if it's brought to our attention, like it has, I've got a, I
You
can
won't
cite,
be-
I can
I'm
cite
sorry,
a
you won't
case
be able to come
where it's brought to my
request it.
attention, and I got to the bottom of it, and it was rectified. If-
I
if-
think,
if
I think the
couldn't-
proper procedure according to our charter is, if I'm not mistaken, and I may be wrong, Ms. Barty, that we contact the city manager or the assistant city manager and let them investigate.
That was, I'm not going to go there. Don't make me go there, Mayor. I'm telling
You
you,
can
I
go
want
there.
this board to be able to see
Maybe the customer
utility
can
bills.
contact me, and
Yeah.
I can look into their issue.
I don't know if you can remember, it's about a year ago.
Might not. It's been
obviously
a
don't
lot going
remember.
on in the last year,
But it was,
especially right
it was
now.
at the top. And I got to the bottom of it and had to go back and listen to some audio tapes and stuff. But it was at the top was the issue.
Okay?
I want this modified where the board mayor only can see this. If staff can see it, if our subordinate can see it, then we should be able to see it.
Ms. Barty, is that legal?
We're elected officials and you're saying our subordinates can see it, but we can't.
It's a question I ask. I'm not sure the answer.
I'm not exactly sure, Mr. Sneed, what you're asking. If, for example, I have a City of Springfield utility bill currently.
Yeah.
So you want to call and speak with the water department or accounts payable to get a copy of my bill?
There's a reason why, not just for fishing. There'd be
Okay, but let's make
probable cause to look at the bill and to see if they're actually being charged the correct rates or if they're being charged at all. Those are two issues, and if you want to talk about it in executive session, we can, but I won't get into it here.
Well,
We can only,
we won't discuss that in executive session because it's not involving why we
Well, I
have
got
the
to the
executive
bottom of the
session.
issue, and I can cite the issue if you want to talk about it. But I want the board mayor and aldermen, the leaders of the staff, who are our subordinates. If subordinates can see it, then we should be able to see it. I'm tired of staff trying to
I'm not-
minimize what we can do.
Leaders of the state.
I'm
Well-
not sure that the charter
That would
sees
be,
us that way.
I would agree.
That's not a charter issue.
That would get into the day-to-day operations of the city, Mr. Sneed.
So you want to
And
keep me in the blind so I can't see what I saw and got to the bottom of. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that if you have authorization from a particular utility customer to review their bill, then you may certainly review that bill.
Yeah.
But reviewing other bills for other individuals would fall into a day-to-day operation, which should be done through staff.
What did we knock on doors and get elected to do? Just take orders from staff and say, have staff, our subordinates, tell us what we can and can't do?
We can,
I don't get that, but y'all bring that up quite a bit.
we can set the policies.
That's
and
what I'm
that-
trying
And
to
you
do.
can change this, but we got to make sure it's legal, that we can do it.
Well, this is first reason, we'll talk about, we'll
Yeah.
move on in a second. The third thing is I turned on some water at a utility district yesterday.
Not here.
Not here.
Okay.
They, at this water district, had an opt-in or opt-out fee for water leaks. For residential, it was $2 a month that you could opt in or opt out. If you had a water leak, it's basically an insurance policy.
Oh.
Right now, we do it 2 times a year. There's no cost, there's no fund for it. Does anybody have the total cost on what we've wavered in water fees? That's a second reading. We'll do it next month. May add that.
Okay?
That's all. Move on.
All right, gentlemen,
What-
any
just
other
to-
questions?
Hold on just a second.
Yes.
Mayor, if I can get some clarification. Are you asking us to look into something?
No, just get the figures on how much we've wavered in water leak
Okay.
fees. And
For
then
this fiscal
see,
year?
and then we've got like 7,000 customers. If we were to collect
In this calendar year?
50%.
You're talking
$2 a
about
month,
for
that would be, what?
Are you talking about for leaks when
Leaks,
we
right.
give the leak credit?
Right.
Okay.
If 50% of people opted in, that's raising $14,000 a month to offset what we give away.
You've been answering the question, you want it for this calendar year, under this budget year.
This is a
passed.
policy issue.
Yeah.
We're amending the policy whenever third reading of the policy takes effect.
The data you're asking for.
Yep. You want it for the last budget year, last calendar year, 3 years of data?
Oh, for the
Yeah.
data. Yes, last 12 months.
Okay, 12 months. All right. Alderman, discussion?
Can I get some clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, honestly, you want permission for us, like, if I wanted to see what Tim's water bill,
Yeah.
utility bill was, want me to be able to go look at his bill?
Do you have a reason to?
No, that's what I'm asking you. What, is that what you want?
I can go to the DMV if I want to see somebody's drivers, whose driver's license, I can get that information.
No, you can't.
But there's probable cause. Yes, there is. You used to, you could do it, but now you got to sign off. You
You
got
can't,
what
sir.
your reason was. They hit me, or they ran into me. I got the license plate. Who is it? I need to send them a subpoena. You can do that.
Okay.
There's
All right.
probable cause.
We're talking about utility bills.
Probable cause,
We-
Mr. Trotter, is different
We're
than just
talking about
fishing.
water and utility bills. right?
Probable cause, and I'm not talking about fishing.
Okay. Thank you for answering the question. Moving on. Mr. Trotter, do you have other questions?
No, I just think, if I have a problem, my utility bill, I have the right to call, and you give me information, that's good. But I don't care what James' bill is, or Tim's bill is, it's none of my business.
I'll give you my bill if you'll pay it.
Right, thank you.
Just saying.
You did not have that in this computer. You were not in mind when I had that policy.
Well, move on.
Mr. Harris, any questions?
I do not.
Mr. Hubbard? Mr. Gregg?
No.
Mr. Head? Final, Mr. Sneed?
We'll talk about second reading.
Okay.
Let's move
Call
on.
the roll, please.
Trotter,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Schneider,
Aye.
Sneed, Gregg, Harris.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
2.11, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 19-12, a resolution declaring certain properties surplus and authorizing the disposal of such properties. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Something we do every month. No questions, call the roll, please.
Sneed, Harris.
Yes.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Gregg, Head,
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you. 2.12, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 19-13, a resolution accepting a subdivision bond from Ray's Construction LLC in the amount of $245,000 in order to guarantee the completion of streets, drainage, and electrical improvements in Village Green of Springfield, Section 4. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? No questions? Call the roll, please.
Harris.
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Yep.
Trotter.
Aye.
Sneed. Gregg. Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you. 2.13, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 19-14, a resolution to adopt a policy regarding the open invocation before the regular meeting of the Springfield Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Question or comments?
Either one.
Well, I
Yes, sir.
mean, it's done from the national body all the way down, as long as the prayer stays within a non-biased, political view, then I'm for it.
Okay. Other statements, comments,
Mayor.
questions? Mr. Sneed.
So what exactly are we voting on right now?
Mi-
Is
Mr.
there a
Martin?
policy, or are we just saying agreeing to agree what we agreed the last meeting?
Okay, and you can read Exhibit A, the policy for opening also.
So we have the resolution, which is the adoption of the policy. The policy is Exhibit A. Policy was put together and crafted, Ms. Barty crafted it, Ms. Holt and I worked on it as well in order to put it in a form that was, that fits the city of Springfield, that fits sort of what we do and what we can handle. The entire goal and the ultimate goal is to be inclusive. That while this practice has been upheld and okayed by the Supreme Court and by the various courts, it's important that, and the most important takeaway from all of this is that we have to be inclusive. We cannot exclude anyone, and I think we've put together and brought before you a very inclusive policy that is an open invitation to any leader of congregations locally, any congregation whatsoever that would like to deliver an invocation. So,
I've got a copy of the Supreme Court ruling right here. It's 25 pages. It's got the opinions of the dissent and the approval. And reading through it, I don't know if the maker of the motion or anyone else on the board's looked at it, but it raised questions that the policy that we're looking at today did not address. And I'm just going to say these and let y'all think about it, because see, this will be read on.
This is a resolution.
This is a resolution, so it's one time.
Yes, sir.
So I'm seeing that in the policy, it's for 3 minutes. We don't even let people speak at a public hearing, but for 2. I got an issue there, that you're not even going to let people at a public hearing, which you just said earlier, you've got 2 minutes, but we're going to let the invocation go for 3. I don't see how that squares. The Supreme Court ruling was citing a city in New York, and most of those prayers were about 150 words. 3 minutes could get into 500-600 words. Which way does the clergy face? The Supreme Court ruling that allows this, the clergy came up, he faced the audience. We're not addressing who's he to face. Does he ask the audience to do something? These are all, I'm just throwing out some questions. Does the clergy ask the audience to stand? Do they ask them to bow? Are we going to keep track of the various religions and atheists and whatever who want to come and speak so that we can keep a percentage, so that we're not getting into an issue, leaving it too much for one? Are they allowed to bring symbols other than what they're wearing? These are all issues that I think are being not looked at, that's going to open us up for litigation if it's not done right. Being a resolution, you're not given this time to consider these things. And I'm fine where everybody on this board goes to church. It's not an issue. I just like the street preachers, I'd like to mitigate our exposure and not open ourselves up. But if anything, just so that if somebody were to read our ordinance, can I make an amendment to add the Supreme Court ruling, opinion, and dissent to the ordinance so it's in there? If
I
somebody
don't
reads
think we
it,
can break the Supreme Court.
it-
I
but
mean, I
if
think
they
that's
read
already
If they
rules.
read our ordinance, they've got this as a companion right beside it. They don't have to go look.
Do we want to add more paper to copy when someone?
It's all electronic, Mayor. It's not that big a deal.
Some people ask for copies.
They can print it out.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And as a over 30-year trained clergy person, seminary trained, we have enough understanding that we can say simple prayers, okay, that's not going to infuse any kind of political stance or any kind of bias. Yes, we're going to screen who's going to bring up there, okay? And the prayer generally will probably.
Point of order, Mayor. He just made a mistake right there.
What?
He said he was going to screen who comes up here.
No, he said that.
You
I
said
said
that.
we.
You can't do that. You have to take a list and they come on a rotation. You can't screen. You said that.
I
Okay.
said we.
What?
I was including not James Hubbard by himself. I was talking about the board.
Point of order, Mayor. Council.
staff.
Council. He just said we were going to screen who comes up here. Isn't that a clear violation of the Supreme Court ruling?
Well,
We have a right.
Okay.
Point of order, Mayor. I'm
Question-
asking council. what he
Question
just
to
said.
the, I can handle this. Question to the attorney. Mr. Sneed had a question.
The policy states that we will not screen. You will make, through publication, I believe, in November of each year, clergy will come forward. They will ask to be placed on the meeting schedule to present the prayer. We will not review the prayer. We will give a simple statement of they're not really even guidelines there. It's a procedure to follow. We will not screen. We will not do that.
Okay.
Well, hold up, I'm gonna have to say this. Well, we have to be careful when we bring in, you don't want, and I'm kind of in your waters there, okay? The guidelines would be not to bring any kind of political or denominational or religious degrading. That would be spelled out, right?
We opened it to everyone.
so
See, no, this one talking about. So therefore, when they come in, they can't put this one down, put that one down, just a prayer of strength.
Just read it, please, just read
I've
it.
already read it, I've been
No,
through
you
this
haven't.
before.
You clearly, you have not read this by what you just said.
Well, they had to write this document according to those, because that's the law. Correct?
I have been in other bodies where I have to do this.
You
I've
have
done
clearly
this.
not read the Supreme
Gentlemen.
Court opinion if you just said what you just said.
The Supreme Court does not stop the chaplains to open up the legislative meetings in D.C. And they give a
don't
powerful
want-
prayer without being political.
And they
Don't
do it
want
at
to
the
see it
state
again,
capitol.
lawsuit.
Exactly.
Do it right, watch what you say.
Okay?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if you look at number 7 on the proposed policy, it reads that no guidelines or limitations shall be issued regarding an invocation's content, except that the board shall request by the language of this policy that no invocation should proselytize or advance any faith or disparage a religious faith or non-religious view of others. So we're taking care of that. So we cannot screen out any particular denomination, any particular religion, or screen the content at all. But we are going to request, and it is perfectly acceptable by law to request that someone doesn't stand here and proselytize
That's what I'm saying.
or advance a particular denomination and put down anyone else who
That's
wanted.
Mayor, we'll make an amendment.
Mr. Sneed has an amendment.
That
Hold on,
we
let me get
change
it
the
fixed.
length, that we change the length of time from 3 minutes to 2 minutes.
The length of time for the prayer.
If you leave this 3 minutes and you let public hearings continue to be 2, we're in trouble.
Okay, well, let me just say something right there. When I became mayor, I looked around the other cities to see what was happening with public hearings. That's something that, based on the study I did, I pulled out 2 minutes. We can
The
change
The
that.
Supreme Court ruling is based on precedence. We have a precedence of public hearings being 2 minutes. We're making a new policy allowing the invocation to be 3.
Okay, so you're,
Clearly,
Okay, hold
clearly
on.
giving that more weight and more time than a public hearing.
and I
You
understand what you're
can't
saying.
do that,
Your
Mayor.
amendment on the floor.
You can't do that.
Okay.
You gotta keep them the same or less.
Let me make sure I have this right. Your amendment is the length of time for the prayer is 2 minutes.
Correct.
Do I hear a second on the amendment?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Any discussion from changing? Do you have a question, Mr. Trotter?
You want to limit to 3, okay, you give them 3 minutes. That don't necessarily mean they want to pray 3. They may pray 30 seconds, they may pray a minute. Okay, if they, through the legislature, they have prayer before every session starts. Some of them are long-winded, some of them are short-winded. You know, that's just the way it is.
Some of them are
But as long as they
related
stay in the guidelines, it's acceptable. I don't think you should put a limit on prayer. Some of us need a lot more than 3 minutes. I'm one of them probably, you know.
Thank you, Mr. Trotter. And you're right. I mean, we go to events and, you know,
Mayor, there's been a lot of lawsuits. I don't think there's anything funny about this.
okay. Well, the
This is
amendment,
very serious, costs a lot of money, a lot of litigation.
anybody have any more questions about the amendment that's on the floor? Any more discussion? You want to say something else, Mr. Sneed?
No.
Okay. Ready to vote? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gregg.
I agree with Alderman Sneed on time frame. If the public hearing is gonna be 3, I mean, we're,
And I'm
make them the
fine,
same.
I'm fine with changing the,
Whatever we're gonna do, make them the same.
that's not anything we put in stone, and I assume I can change that. We can start doing the public hearings 3, if you
You've
want.
set precedents. You're changing it for this specific reason.
I think the mayor has the right to do that. Maybe, maybe not. Ms. Barty?
You gonna leave it at 3, is what you're saying?
He brought up a point of I'm just saying, as mayor, when I became mayor, I chose the 2 minutes for the public hearing that we're talking about. I talked to the previous attorney.
I honestly believe that it would be fine either way. I do like the idea that the two
Match.
match.
Okay. All right. Other discussion, gentlemen? No other discussion? Everybody understands the amendment. We're changing the minutes from 3 to 2. Call the roll, please.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Trotter,
No.
Schneider,
No.
Head,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
passed 5 to 2.
Okay. That was the amendment, and now we're back to the main motion as amended.
I think we're ready to vote. I think we.
Well, hold on just a second.
All right.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Schneider,
Aye.
Harris,
Yes.
Gregg,
Aye.
Sneed, Trotter,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Aye.
passed 7-0.
Thank you. 3.1, discuss and possible take action on the adjustments of the retail electric rates of the Springfield Electric Department due to the wholesale fuel cost adjustments by the Tennessee Valley authorities. Nikki, are you going to present the
moved.
electric rates tonight, or is it Sandy? Is it good news or bad news? Well, no wonder Robert took a vacation. We won't shoot the messenger.
You, they use it more coal for next month, and this is gonna result in like a $3 a month increase on the average house.
Okay. Thank you. We didn't get a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. We don't like it. Please take that back to your boss.
You're being hard on senior citizens.
You're being hard on everybody. No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Head,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Trotter,
Aye.
Schneider,
Aye.
Gregg,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Sneed, passed 7-0.
3.2, discuss and possible take action on the adjustments of the monthly gas rates of the Springfield Gas Department. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Riddle.
Second.
The purchase gas adjustment's down 2.55% this month.
Thank you.
Good job.
Well, it's winter time. We use more electricity.
There you go.
To be fair, he is right.
AC.
No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Trotter,
Aye.
Hubbard,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Schneider,
Aye.
Sneed, Gregg,
Aye.
Harris,
Yes.
passed 7-0.
We just like on a normal basis to pick on the people bringing the message.
Right.
3.3, discuss and possible take action to approve the offers on the surplus properties acquired via the delinquent tax sales. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Questions? Mr. Barton, I'm sure, has all the answers if you have questions.
Man, just selling it, bro.
Well, there are 4 properties this month, very competitive. We're getting down to very competitive on the ones we have left. These range from 13 to 19 offers. The least amount of offers that one of these properties had was 13. An update so far on the ones that we've sold, we have collected a total of $227,735 on all of the properties that this board has declared or had sold, declared surplus and sold from back taxes and all of the real estate that we've done. Now, the county gets a share of that, but we've closed on those, and that's the amount collected. Chancery Court sorting out the difference right now, and so we're cranking these things out. We were able to take a lot of them off the mowing list, so we're not having to mow these properties and maintain them and put deeds in the hands of developers who are going to start construction and build houses. So we're making some good progress. So thank y'all. If you have any questions, I'll answer them.
Questions? This is all some more good news. We're getting close. Anyone else? Okay. All right, call the roll, please.
Sneed. Harris.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Gregg. Head.
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
We're going to take a 5-minute break or less, and we'll be right back. We're back in session.
If you want to put something up there, all you have to do is tell me what to put, and I'll put it up there.
Time out for the arguments.
All right, as long as you do that, that's fine.
Time out, go to the corner peacefully.
We're called back into order. Please take your seats.
Thank you, man.
Ready to go. 3.4, discuss and possible take action to change the scope of work on the hydraulic study with Jacobs Engineering, Inc. for an additional $14,840 and extension of 165 days. The new contract will end May 31st, 2019. The revised contract amount is $64,840. Do I hear a motion to discuss?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
And Mr.
Question?
Beers to the microphone, please.
Yes, sir.
Will you give us the short run of what this is, exactly why they're needing more days, or?
Well, what we ran into, excuse me, allergies are a problem, but what we ran into, you'd set out recorders, and then you would take some flow data versus that. When they didn't match up, you would have to go turn some valves and look at things here. Then we ran into the weather coming up to where you couldn't set recorders out. Being cold, you can't set those out. We had to reset those and then go through the same thing. We had some problems with what pressure should be at a certain point. A valve would be closed or a valve would be open. What pumps should operate weren't operating on the proper pump curve. The tank levels weren't matching what the pressure should be in that particular point. And that was working with all our crews, actually trying to find these problems. So it's kind of a cohesive between Jacobs and Springfield, trying to solve where we had these problems with the valves and pumps, different things. We knew how important this is, how dire as far as the study is, what we needed to look at with all the, with Greenbrier and all the other different developments that we have out there, the legacy, different ones. We wanted to make sure we got things right. Now, the good part about this on this, that's what the, I'm sorry, I'm deviating some, the 165 days, that's what this is entailing. But it's complete now, and we'll be ready for a presentation. Well, Jacobs will here whenever we do see fit there. But that's why it took so long. I mean, it just kept dragging on. Every time we think we did have something solved, it seemed to be there was something else that would come up. It didn't match up the number-wise. You know, why are you getting this value? It shouldn't be here. Elevation is this, pressure flow is here. This doesn't match on what you would have on a computer program. And when you run computer simulations, you need to match up on what I say pressure zones. I won't get into too much there, but the tank levels, the pressures at these points, they should match what you do on your flow data. Your flow recorders are going to tell you what you have, your exact information, And the adjustments you make, there's what you have to do is to match everything up in the computer model. So that's what it involved there.
But are you saying that it's complete?
Yes, sir.
Are they needing another 165?
No, it's complete.
Contract
No,
should end May
it
31st.
ends May 31st.
May 31st is when the project should be.
Yes. No, it'll be, that's what the extension's through.
So what are you exactly asking us to approve?
Change
Additional
order,
money.
change order for additional money, paying them for additional work that they.
Not days? Just
Not
money.
the days,
Okay.
not the.
I read it like you was asking for another 160.
No. I hope- No, I'm glad to say, and I know everyone's ready for that it's complete now, and they'll be
Okay.
giving a small presentation.
I have no more questions.
Other questions, gentlemen, while Mr. Beers is at the mic? Thank you.
Thank you.
No other questions? Call the roll, please.
Harris.
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Sneed. Gregg. Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you. 3.5, discuss and possible take action to extend the contract with Green Village Recycling for recycling collections and marketing services for an additional 12 months through the period ending June 30th, 2020. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion, questions? Yes, sir.
Mr. Ellis, I just want to know if is it working?
Well, it grows a little bit and it goes down a little bit. We're about 260, 270. Sometimes it falls back, but it hadn't grown much since then. But it's a washout, you know, we charge what we paying them on this contract. It just is more work on our department, of course. And I guess we had to buy carts too. We did do that. That's expense.
So you're saying there's been no significant growth since this started?
Probably 40 or 50
People?
people in this year.
Can I put you on the spot and ask you if you agree with the extension or not?
I think an extension, since it's a no cost to us, yes, if it was costing me another issue, but the only thing, it is trouble for our department, a little bit more work, but they're working it out fine right now. And I think it's something we can continue to try and see if it improves itself.
Thank you.
Is it just in certain parts of the city?
No, it's citywide.
Citywide?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You see the carts when you drive around town in all neighborhoods.
Very
Alan, you
good.
said we had to buy carts. I thought we owned the carts.
We had 310 carts that the county and us both owned, half and half. And we had in the budget last year, we got up to almost 280, I think, at one time, and we had to go ahead and buy some. I think we bought 100 more. So we do have some of those.
The total amount of recycling that's been collected since we began the program, 75,560 pounds. That was as of the end of, so it's generated a little bit of use.
Other questions? No other questions? Call the roll, please.
Schneider.
Aye.
Harris.
Yes.
Gregg. Sneed. Trotter.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you. 3.6, discuss and possible take action on the appointments and the reappointments to the following boards and commission. The Board of Zoning Appeals, Curtis Payne, Ward 1 and 2. Historic Preservation Commission, Tony Cowan, at large. Historic Preservation Commission, Phil Klober, ad hoc. Parks and Recreation, Daniel Hand, Ward 4. Parks and Recreation Board, Kim Moffitt, Ward 6.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay. No discussion, call the roll.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed. Harris.
Yes.
Trotter.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Gregg. Pass 7-0.
3.7, discuss and possible take action on a request by Alderman Sneed to synchronize certain traffic lights to flash during certain hours. Do I hear a motion to discuss?
Move to defer, next meeting.
Motion on the floor to defer. You have to vote on that? To defer?
Yes, second.
Second.
Call the roll. I can do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. 3.8, Chief Head has a brief presentation on the recent 2018 Crime in Tennessee report. I want to start by thanking you and all the officers and all the men and women who work in the offices and in other places for y'all. Y'all are doing a fabulous job. This is a great report. But when they drive around and they protect us each and every day, and you can pick up the phone and you can call 911 when someone is in your house that's not supposed to be there, and you hear those sirens coming. I've been there, done that. And they are amazing folks, the men and women on the staff, along with all the rest of you out here doing your job. So I can't thank all the employees enough.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you, Alderman, for the opportunity to speak to you. I'll be very brief. I know you have an executive session to go to. I do think you all got the information in a packet sent to you about what we wrote up. If you remember in January, typically at the first of the year, we give you some numbers and some stats because we have this data and information, and it does vary a little bit. This comes from TBI. This is the Tennessee Incident-Based Reporting System, which is TIBRS. This is the official numbers that we go by. Some of the changes are some things may be cleared, or they may deem that the incident didn't actually occur or is unfounded, something like that. So the numbers change a little bit from until TBI gets out at this report, and we're kind of at their mercy. And typically, it's released towards the end of April. If you saw, we had 1,177 incidents of reported criminal activity in Springfield with 982 arrests. Violent criminal activity, which includes homicide, aggravated assaults, a majority of those things went down significantly due to some things we started a few years ago that the captain was involved in. Some things that increased that we include in violent criminal activity, we increased from 6 reported rapes to 13. It's not like we had a serial rapist or anything going out there. We don't understand that data, but I will tell you, already looking at 2019 numbers from the first of the year compared to last year, we are down again on those numbers too, on the forcible rapes. So it looks to drop this year back down to a more normal level. Our robberies were down 20%. Our burglaries were down 70%. These are our crimes against property. And we look at those significantly because those are quality of life issues. If your house is getting broken into or your car, those are things that people look at and the buy-in to come to Springfield. And our part of doing that is making this the safest place for people to do business and live. And we want to do the best job we can. There's a lot more work to be done, obviously. We did have an increase with things being taken from vehicles, out of property being taken out of vehicles. And if you'll notice the trend around the Nashville area, there's been a lot going on lately. This year we've dropped down a little bit from what we were last year, but we got hit with that. And it is a lot of juveniles coming out of Nashville, and they're targeting neighborhoods. They're going through cars. People leave them unlocked. If you leave cell phones, firearms, money, those are the things that they're taking. And you've seen on the news that Hendersonville and Gallatin has chased a few back to Nashville in the past few weeks, and we're working with some of those other agencies and partnering with them to see if we had any of that going on, and also Clarksville as well. That increased a little bit. We are down again already this year looking at the numbers in comparison to last year. One thing that helps us out that you all have done in the past and you had the vision to do is the surplusing some of this dilapidated property and cleaning up these things and building good significant housing back on these places where good people can come and live and work, and that helps us out tremendously. So I'm very, very pleased with your all's partnership and allowing those things to go on. Helps us out a lot more than going out on the street sometimes too, and just doing patrols and things like that. If we can clean up an area with your help, the crime rate obviously will go down. We're very pleased with our partnerships. We partner a lot with the Robertson County Sheriff's Office, the Tennessee Highway Patrol, other governmental organizations, and federal and at the state level. We have a very good partnership with all these. One thing we're looking at this year already on our DUIs, we're always involved in the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Where we're at this year compared to last year, we already have more DUIs this year in 2019 than we had of all of 2018. So the guys and gals, the officers are out there working very hard night and day. I'm very pleased, and we couldn't do it without them, obviously. And a lot of the credit goes back to them, that they are out there working very hard. So, and you can find all this data, and you can also do a comparison of all the agencies, the sheriff's offices and all the PDs and all the Tennessee. You can find the data at tn.gov, TBI, crime issues, and if you want the website, you can go on there and do a comparison. You can do year to year. You can look at what our numbers were for the past few years, and you can also look at all the other cities. And comparably looking, just a brief glance, and I sent you something last year, and we'll get that out probably maybe June or July, a comparison of cities that were similar in size and the cities around. If you'll remember, we got that out last year. We look pretty good compared to all these, very good, as a matter of fact. So it is very competitive to help people move in and do business and live.
New businesses coming into the city of Springfield will look at our crime rates, and they will look at our shoplifting crime rates. All of these are under scrutiny when a business wants to move here, or individual citizens. So kudos to what you do each and every day, to all the first responders. We appreciate you. Any questions to Chief Head? Yes, sir.
How are we doing on our, I'm not discriminating, I say it's drifting homeless males. I see that some of them are solid. Do you see a down trend on that?
No, we've actually seen a few increased in town.
Yeah.
There are some organizations, and we did talk about this briefly. There are some church organizations and some other organizations that are out of Nashville that have placed a few people here.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, they've not stayed with where they were placed, and now they're here. So that is something we are looking at, and we've talked about it a little bit. I don't have the answer to that. That's not something we don't want a lot of homeless people roaming around. Obviously, in town, we want to help them find places to go. I think some of the churches have been involved, especially the winter months, with finding people to go. But it is a concern. There have been a few increases.
And one concern, because some of these might be homeless veterans, and they're having problems. We so-called stable combat veterans are having problems, but they're really having problems because they're not being seen and they're just drifting.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm concerned like that.
Other questions, comments?
Comment.
Yes, sir.
Chief, I know y'all are doing all that you can, and you're doing a good job. If there's anything that can be done with these things and people driving,
And that there's a new law coming July 1 that will take effect on driving. You won't be able to, you'll have to use the device hands-free totally. So
Okay. Other comments?
hopefully that'll
Before you
help
sit
out a little
down?
bit with distracted driving.
I hope so.
Use your Bluetooth. It is an amazing little instrument. If you don't have one, get one. Don't get behind me driving when I'm not on my Bluetooth. Oh, didn't say that. Any other comments? Thank you, Chief Head, and thank you to all your officers. Okay. Our next item on the agenda is our Board of Mayor and Aldermen will meet upstairs in an executive session to discuss pending litigation. I'm going to call this meeting closed for a few minutes. We're going to go upstairs.
Yeah, vote to go in executive session.
I'm just ready to move on, but we're going to vote. Call the roll, please.
Move to go into executive session.
Second.
Thank you. Gentlemen. Call the roll, please.
Trotter.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Sneed.
Yes.
Gregg. Harris.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you. We'll meet upstairs. Mr. Sneed, I forget that one every time. There's a raise in that bunch of them. While the rest of them are coming down. Oh, he's
Jeff, I saw you, Nike. I saw you two down at the college out there.
Calculated if we were gonna change the
At
budget.
Paradise.
I was looking for you.
I saw you. You own that place?
Well,
You own that place?
no,
Mr. Hubbard's always laughing. And he blames it on his age. And he's out on the greenway every day. Our Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting is called back into session. 3.9, discuss and possible take action on an agreement related to the Springfield-Robertson County Joint Airport. Do I hear a motion to discuss?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Mayor, I have a motion to make.
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we approve the mutual release and authorize the mayor to execute the release and Dan Nolan to execute the agreed order dismissing the lawsuit on behalf of the city of Springfield.
Okay.
Second motion.
Motion, a first and a second. Any discussion on the motion to approve the release? And Dan Nolan to execute the next documents. No discussion? Call the roll, please.
Schneider.
Aye.
Harris.
Yes.
Gregg.
Aye.
Sneed. Trotter.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
Thank you. Our consent doc.
Move to approve the whole doc.
Thank you.
Second.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to talk about the K-9 dog separate.
Okay. To the makers of the motion, is it okay to remove the police 4.3? Do we need to vote on that? Okay. Is it okay for the ones that made the motion? Do y'all consent to taking 4.3 out?
4.1 and 2 together?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And the second?
Is this merely taken out for discussion?
Yes, sir. Okay. We'll vote on 4.1 and 4.2. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Harris.
Yes.
Schneider.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Trotter.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Gregg.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
4.3, Police Department requests to purchase a drug K-9 from the K-9 Command LLC of Hendersonville, Tennessee in the amount of $13,000 funded by the drug fund. Do I hear a motion to discuss?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, discussions, please?
Yes, Mayor,
Yes.
maybe Mr. Ryan or police chief can answer this, this dual purpose patrol dog. What additional funding will he require as far as body armor, care, extra pay for the officer, any benefits for its retirement? Have we thought about these other costs?
Sure. Chief, you want to?
Sure.
Go ahead.
As body armor, are you talking about the animal itself?
Right.
Okay. Then we've never had body armor for them at all on those. The benefits to having the K-9 have always been, well, since I've been here, the extra pay, you get extra pay for the care of the animal, which amounts to a little bit, I think 7 hours a week. You get an hour a day for the care of the animal.
Provisions for the animal, is that a city cost or the?
Yes, it's budgeted in, like you talk, medical and the
So
feeding.
is that an allowance or is it turned in by receipts?
It is an allowance. We put a budget amount in there each year, and it's turned in backed up by the receipts.
Is there a retirement care for this service dog after its service life, 5 or 6 years? The animal's about 3 years old now,
2,
and about 8 or 9 years old, you'll retire.
depending on what goes on, yes, sir.
Is there
Typically.
is there a retirement for like our employees as well?
No, in the past.
Do you want to do that?
In the past, we've usually surplused the animal to the handler. There's a lot of liability in it, of course, if you just sent it somewhere, gave it away, because it is a trained animal. It could come back on the city. The That'd be up to the board if we had some retirement provisions for it, or if we set up something that it does go to a handler or a specific place.
My comment would stick with procedures of the handler. That's how we've always done it. And that will definitely relieve us of any liability of this dog attacking and killing someone else. Let's stay with that. That's my vote.
Well, I mean, after its useful service life, then it does tame down after it's not being worked. Just like any hunting dog, I mean, they use, if you don't do it, they lose some of it.
As far as the drive.
In retirement, right.
In retirement, they're not working anymore, no.
So that's what I'm saying, is there a retirement benefit that we should be, but you're saying what we're doing with the dogs now, send them back to?
Typically, we've just surplused it, the board has, and it goes back to the handler.
I'll be happy to buy the dog, and it can live a happy life in my house.
I think there was one a few years ago, more than a couple now, gosh, it's been almost 10, that was given to the handler didn't want it, and it was given away to not a shelter, but an organization that took former canines.
I had one more question, I can't remember what it is, but anyway, that's it.
We look over our service dogs, and you don't realize how smart they are until they're in your front yard and coming in your house to get scents. And Onyx was at my house, and Onyx has gone on to heaven. And we talked about this earlier. They chased the guys that were in my house from 9 o'clock till midnight, and they finally caught them laying in the creek. We forget about the dogs.
I make a motion that we vote to approve this.
I second.
I think the motion's already on the floor. Any other discussion?
It is coming out of the drug fund as well, too, so no additional cost to the city with the purchase of it or the training.
Any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Harris.
Yes.
Trotter.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Gregg. Pass 7-0.
I will invite you to the ribbon cutting on Saturday at 10 o'clock, the bicentennial kickoff for the splash pad. It's going to be a great day with DJ Johnny. Food, Hollinsworth Grilling Team's going to be out there.
DJ Johnny?
DJ Johnny. Lots of fun. Come out and have a family fun day with us.
Community day that we're supporting on the 8th.
Would you like to come to the mic, and then I'm going to turn it over to our Assistant City Manager.
Yes, I'll be real brief. The mayor, along with us, has partnered to have a community day. We're going to grill hamburgers and hot dogs in the church in the parking lots that's actually owned by one of the tobacco outlets, and we're going to invite anybody that wants to come and participate. We're paying for it out of our own money, personal money. We're going to serve the community.
Community
out there.
Baptist.
Date and locations.
June the 8th, and I think we're starting at 11 till about 2 in the afternoon.
Between
So-
St. John's and Community
Yes,
Baptist.
yes, that parking lot that's owned by the tobacco company. So anybody, it's our opportunity to serve, give back to the community out there, so.
If anybody would like to volunteer their time to come out and help us cook, and yes, I will be out helping
The actual ribbon cutting Saturday is at 10.
at 10. Martin Luther King Park. Our Assistant City Manager's report by Mr. Ryan Martin, and we will adjourn.
Okay, just a couple brief things to pass along. I did want to let the board know, Ms. Holt and I wanted to inform you that IMC, the company that we had engaged in conversations with, and you all voted to approve the sale of land to the North Industrial Park, they have pulled out and withdrawn at this time. So there's no agreement in place any further on that particular piece of property. They had some things fall through business-wise and needed to withdraw. So we do have that land available for sale, and we'll hope to find a suitor for that sometime. Our retail coach, the contract we entered into with the retail recruitment company, that is going very well so far. We received our retail gap analysis and our retail trade area analysis from them a few weeks ago. And what the retail gap analysis does is it lets us know where our retail leakage is. So we know that people are driving away to shop at certain places and buy certain things, and this tells us, based on cell phone data, where exactly that the people that live in the city of Springfield and around our retail trade area are going. The retail trade area analysis told us exactly where people are coming to shop in Springfield. They're coming from Jolton, they're coming from Pleasant View, so there were very encouraging numbers and very informative numbers that we found out from that. They then held a workshop with our downtown merchants and informed our downtown merchants of this information. That's one of the reasons that we recommended this company to you all, is because they don't want to just replace the local and small businesses that we have here. They want to bolster them, and they want to supplement. They want to add to them. So we're excited about that. They're currently in Las Vegas right now for the ICSC, International Council of Shopping Centers Retail Conference, which is the largest retail conference in the country at the Las Vegas Convention Center. So they're out there now on our behalf, talking with these companies that we've identified through all the research and data to see if we can generate some interest in Springfield. So we're really excited about that. The mayor mentioned the Bicentennial Splash Bash, ribbon cutting at 10, food vendors, DJ Johnny will be out there. We're really, really excited. If you haven't been out there, go take a look. Terry and his people have done a great job on that. Want to congratulate again Mr. Trotter, and also Alan Ellis, our Public Works Director. His daughter was inducted into the Ready Hall of Fame, so congratulations to Alan and his daughter. And then finally, we want to send our well wishes to our city manager, Gina Holt, who is watching live tonight. So she hasn't missed this. She hasn't missed this meeting, but we want her to get well soon. So, thank you.
Bronchitis is no laughing matter, and I know several of you out in the audience are suffering from sinuses like I am. I want to point out, if you have not been to the first Friday night market, I want to see all of you out on the 7th of June, correct? June 7th. It is so much fun. I promise you'll have a good time. Sons of the Beach are playing that night. Bring your lawn chair. Come have some fun. Come have some food.
Yes, ma'am. Also, for that Ready banquet they had, I just want to make note, Santa Fe, the owner of Santa Fe Steakhouse donated all the food. And I understand he's...
He lives here.
lives in
I went to
County.
high school with him.
I thought that was a great thing, so.
Barry
And his
D,
food was
thank
very
you
good.
so much. We got so many people coming together now in our community, and we can't say enough wonderful things, and thank you to Barry Dean and Santa Fe. This meeting is adjourned.